If it was Thomas Tuchel that's getting this position now, the expectations would be different from Kompany getting the position.
Yeah.
So if Kompany gets in there and it doesn't work out, I don't think he will come out looking terrible. I think
it depends on how it goes, though. Remember one Frank Lampard? Lampard did almost the same thing that Kompany did. Lampard, with Derby County in the championship, he brought them to what they call promotion. Then
the profile is not the same. Lampard is not.
Lampard is England.
Lampard in England. Thank you.
Exactly. So if you're a Bayern Munich fan, what would you want Kompany to do for that team? What would you expect him to do?
That's an interesting question, and that's a very good question. What I would expect him to do is to be a proper man manager.
Yes, Transit TV. Let's look at this week. Once the season ended, in fact, before the season ended, it was just news flying left, right, and center. Some interesting and very surprising news out there about managers and clubs trying to sign. Bayern Munich, on top of this one, they had an array of managers turn them down. Lopetegui, Rangnick, they are so just name them. Flink, there was just so many managers they approached, and nobody wanted to work with them anymore because all of a sudden, Bayern Munich used to be a very stable club. In the last 2 seasons, they've just gone through almost every manager in Europe. And interestingly, they landed Vincent Kompany.
Coach who you are as a person. And my personality is I grew up on the streets of Brussels. I played football on the streets. I was in the academy of Anderlecht, where from the age of 6 to the age of 20, you have to win everything. You have to be the best team. And so I want the players of Bayern Munich to be brave, really brave on the ball, to have personality on the ball. But also my nature is I'm also someone that is aggressive, so I want the team to be aggressive.
For me, it's a huge surprise to me. I saw or I've seen what he's done with Burnley, but still, this is Bayern Munich. I don't know what let me hear from you before I say what I think about. But for our viewers, what makes this interesting that if you look at his record at Burnley in the EPL, is crazy. He only won 5 games. He had 13% winning ratio, considered I think 79 goals, scored I think 30 something, and their possession statistics, and I can't remember now what it was. So it was really a very abysmal show for his team in terms of numbers, and of course he got relegated. But from nowhere, he's now the coach of Bayern Munich. I don't know. Talk us through that one.
Okay, yeah. Excuse me. I think that Kompany is a very strong character. Bayern is a very historic club, and I'm sure that with the hierarchy they have in that club, they operate the kind of structure that I think United are trying to implement. You have the director of football, you have a committee, so to speak, running the football affairs. They have a head coach and not necessarily a manager. So they decide who to buy, maybe with some input from the manager, but definitely not the manager making that decision. So having that structure in place, they needed a strong character, somebody that has a clear sense of purpose, has a defined way of playing, has the character to come into the dressing room with the egos there, and still make it work, despite being young. So I can see why they'll hire her Kompany. Kompany is a very strong character, a real leader, right? Right from his playing days. Ironically, he's going to be coaching Harry Kane that he played against while at City. So one thing I've seen about Kompany, he's also very well trained on how to handle the press. Speaks really well, speaks quite eloquently, speaks very confidently.
That side of it.
Yes, Doesn't come across, doesn't, it's not dramatic. He's just there doing his job. So I respect him a lot. I think that what he achieved with Burnley, clearly with a defined way of playing, they swept the championship, came over to, first of all, taking that step down to Burnley from Anderlecht was something I thought was positive. Again, that shows strength of character. Did that, came back to the Premiership, stuck to his guns. Though we've had this conversation about pragmatism and being playing more defensive than he did to be able to stay in the Premiership. But again, he stuck to his guns, and I think that's one of the reasons why Bayern Munich have hired him. They've decided to go young. They've decided to go with a coach with a defined way of playing. Most times attacking football. They've also decided to go with somebody that, even though young, has the strength of character to carry their dressing room.
The dressing room, yeah.
So, yes. So
it's very interesting. I hear you there. I mean, one thing I agree with you completely there is Bayern Munich. Also, all the coaches they have been linked to, they're all young coaches. They even use Nagelsmann, before they hired to. The only person that is a little bit advanced there was Ragnick. So, but where I have a problem with them appointing Kompany. All these things you're saying about Kompany are true. And if they saw all this, why didn't they approach him all this way? They had to go through like 10 coaches that turned them down before they came to Kompany. So I don't know how much they respect him, how much they want him. Is it that they stumbled because they don't have any better option? They decided to go with him, or did they admire him all the while, or is there anything that happened before that they didn't go to him? I don't understand. So because
I think. Yeah, my answer to that is that I think that every solid club in Europe has a short list. You have a list.
That's what I'm saying. It's not in their top 6.
Well, I don't think that means so much. As long as
it does. Why it means a little. Why is the concern for me is obviously somebody would have mentioned his name earlier, and they did their maybe vote of confidence or whatever, and majority didn't want him in the committee like you mentioned. It was when the popular candidates turned them down. Then I said, okay, I think you mentioned the Kompany. Can we talk to him? So people who normally know how humans are, and people who normally in the initial stage didn't want him, probably would not really give him the backing that he needs. That was what happened to Nagelsmann, if you remember. Mm-hmm. He wasn't really carried by everybody in that committee. So once things went bad, the people that were against him just jumped on his back, and hey, this is not going to work, and they let him go. Mm-hmm. But I hope that, like you mentioned, Kompany is a strong character. Obviously, he would have had some very strong conversations with them, and things were straightened out before he took the offer. But my other concern is, when a young coach jumps on a big job like this, if it doesn't go well, so most times it's difficult to come back again, except maybe
I don't think it will happen. For this one, there's a no-lose situation.
Maybe if Pep leaves next season, maybe they'll bring him back to City. No, don't say that. This is football. We have seen it happen to a lot of coaches. You remember?
I don't bet, but I can put a bet on this. There's no way.
Remember Lupategi from nowhere.
Please, you're talking about Lupategi. I'm talking about Vincent Kompany. There's a reason I'm saying Vincent Kompany, and I'm confident about it.
I understand, but nothing is a given.
This one is a given because because this guy has paid his dues as a player. No, there's a certain level you get to as a player, right? Uh-huh. Even if he gets into that job. Like everybody now, nobody's expecting any miracles from him. Nobody's expecting big success from him, right? I don't know whether you are, but I'm not expecting him to conquer everything at Bayern. So if he conquers everything,
I kind of let me not say expect. I won't be surprised if he succeeds, based on the things that you have been saying all this while. So that's in a way, it's also an expectation. But it doesn't go well too. I also understand. So
that's right.
Yeah, so that's my problem.
So that's also my point. If it was Thomas Tuchel that's getting this position now, expectations will be different from Kompany getting the position. Yeah. Exactly. So if Kompany gets in there and it doesn't work out, I don't think he will come out looking terrible. I think he will
It
still
depends on how
get
it goes, though. Remember one Frank Lampard? Lampard did almost the same thing that Company did. Lampard, with Derby County in the championship, he
again.
brought them to what do they call promotion. Then
The
took over
profile,
that Chelsea job.
the profile is not the same.
Lampard
Lampard is not.
No,
Lampard,
Lampard in England.
Lampard in England. Thank you. The profile is not the same. Kompany is a continental man, not an Englishman. So that's again another angle to it. He's not Lampard at all.
What about Gerrard?
The same thing. Gerrard is like Lampard.
No,
he's not.
No. Don't say this as a player. Gerrard pushed Liverpool to win Champions League.
So listen.
Gerrard was Liverpool. In the same stature, if you ask me, the thing he will tell me, what I will agree with you is that Kompany personal personality, if I can say that,
the Academy of Anderlecht
is stands him out from them. I understand, no doubt. You're going to he can side by side in terms of personality and being driven and stuff. I would choose Kompany, but in terms of like stature in the footballing world, Gerrard did bits now, bro.
No. See, that's even different from what I'm saying. I'm not talking about stature in the football. I'm talking about I think it's just that English thing. I don't know how to explain it or the word to use to explain it and get my point across.
No. The
average English star.
In terms of like Kompany as a human being, as a personality, yes, of course, he's different from these two guys, for sure. I thought you were talking about like as a player what they did. So I was just saying.
No.
Gerrard,
no, I'm not talking about playing achievements. No, I'm talking about more about personality and more about the
Kompany has it. I give it to him.
Continental appeal as opposed to being an Englishman.
Yeah, I give it to him. I don't even think that Gerrard or Lampard will walk into that Bayern Munich dressing room. They won't take.
No chance. No chance.
They will take that job. So if you're a Bayern Munich fan, what would you want Kompany to do for that team? What would you expect him to do?
That's an interesting question, and that's a very good question. What I would expect him to do is to be a proper man manager. I think that Bayern Munich still has a lot of excellent players, right? It's now being able to motivate them, being able to organize them, and build a very strong and united dressing room. That's really what he needs to do. As for way of playing, they already have their ways set. They can play, they can ball, they can, they know how to pass, they know how to position themselves, they know how to set themselves up, and the coach can, make one or two inputs here and there. But mainly it will be managing the likes of Jamal Musiala, the likes of Leroy Sané, the likes of Harry Kane,
Kimmich,
and
stop Kimmich from leaving.
The links.
Even Davis too was being eyed by PSG and Real Madrid. I don't know whether if they try to stop this kind of players from leaving. My little concern about Kompany is what you and I have discussed before, and I followed Bayern Munich a little bit last season. They were too easy to be played against, especially at home last season. They are conceding some very stupid goals. So I will want him to show up a shop for them a little bit, and unfortunately, Burnley didn't show that in the EPL. So I don't know if he's more of an attacking. When Pep first came to England, it was all about putting him and putting you under pressure and wear you down. Defensively, they were questioned, but they will play you, they will score you and win games. Yeah. So you're
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, it remains to be seen, but I think another major task that they have to fulfill is to make sure that Bayer Leverkusen doesn't do a back-to-back.
That's what I wanted to say, because they're going to go against a machine that we always use that is together, and it doesn't look like Alonso is playing.
Yes, Alonso is not playing, so he needs to hit the ground running. Make sure he doesn't lose to Leverkusen. Make sure that he gets that league back from Leverkusen. Otherwise, it will be a big problem for him.
Yeah, and with Dortmund being a fan of Champions League this season too, you're not going to discount them as well. So it's going to be it's a huge job that he's taking there, and with all the patience, with all the understanding, with all that, not expecting much from him. There's no way Bayern should not be challenged next season. If by December they are 6th and 7th, questions will be asked. And every season in Germany, I don't know how they do it. There is always one club that out of nowhere stays in top 4 throughout the season. Like what you see that Leverkusen did. Leverkusen were almost relegated, if not relegated 2 seasons ago. From nowhere where they are. So it happens in Germany every year. There was one time it was Schalke 04. Bayern Black, I think it was like 2 seasons ago. So they always have. So if Dortmund come next season with the same form and Leverkusen comes, that's 2 already. So if, as historically, we have one, there's a word they use for it, one dark horse, show from nowhere and stay in that top 4, that's 3. Then Bayern has to be in that mix. So if anything happens, they come below these 3 teams potentially. Then I don't know, but I wish him well. I like Kompany. I believe he has something to offer the world of football. And if you look around as well, it's time for the generation. We're just looking at it because like he's too young because of the peps, the clubs. But these people are gradually getting tired. So this is the generation so I think it's not really a very out of place just because Bayern Munich is a club of huge stature. So and it came out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. Another place that he would have struggled, though you have already covered it, is the fact that he doesn't have to really worry much about signing players himself. There's a team that would have done the scouting and probably give him option. We have these 3 players in this position. Who do you want? Or something like that. They analyze it and give him a player to work with. Because if he was where he was going to come in and recommend player that he wants to sign, then it becomes a more cumbersome and bigger task to handle. So he probably will just focus on. I'm just trying to imagine the kind of summer he's going to have with his family. I don't know if you are in those shoes, how are you going to feel?
You mean Kompany?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's overjoyed. He'll just sit back, enjoy the Euros, and then get to work. It's wonderful. You're just coming from relegation, and the next thing is that you're coaching one of the biggest sides in the world. I could see his press conference today. He was as relaxed as ever.
Yeah. Then for Burnley, what did they go from here? I know they got 10 million, and apparently there are some add-ons too to it. But I mean,
I heard they're about to. They mentioned somebody that they're about to hire.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think I heard that they read that somewhere today. Who is that?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I mean, they still have the tools. They just have to go with the same mindset and perhaps the same way of playing football. Get a coach that will still drive them that attacking path that Vincent has created. Vincent, again, another mark that he should be given credit for is, the reputation of Burnley as at 2 seasons ago. Burnley,
switching them from that,
switching them from
that mechanical football. Yes. In 1 season to play an attractive football. Yeah, he was, and it was almost the same players.
Yes.
From Sean Dice.
That's a lot.
Sean Dice is the present Allardyce. The present day Allardyce. Yeah, that's true. I commend him for that. I said I like him as a coach. The only concern I had, I've discussed in the past, was that for me it was a little bit naive. A little bit of pragmatism would have kept Burnley in the league. But again, like you also have alluded, that's probably what got him this job. But end of the day, that means he benefited from it. Burnley had lost that. So that's another. There are just different ways to look at it. But either way, I think I'm happy that there are new generation of coaches that are coming up, and everything is beginning to point towards Pep. But let's move on.